Wuthering Waves, or otherwise known as WuWa. You serious? Yep, I know. A bunch of people are talking about it, but I do plan on making content around this game, so fuck it, hey techie. Since this is the first time I've brought gacha to this channel, I just want to preface this and say that Genshin Impact is the only gacha, realistically at least, that I've ever played. At least on a more serious level. So you don't know what you're talking about. Who let you in here? Listen, at the end of the day, it's just one man's opinion. So please, lower the pitchforks and raise them at Hoyo. On a serious note, I want to talk about why I'm hyped for this game's release and how I hope it doesn't fizzle out after the first few months. But first, let's talk about my experience with Genshin. I went through Genshin just as a typical average player would. I didn't speedrun much of anything. I did want to get to AR45 to do artifact farming and stuff like that, but it wasn't really a rush because the story was fine. But now, post AR45 and upwards of AR55, there just isn't much to do. Like, yeah, I could go artifact farm for Navia, and I do almost every day, but I do it in hopes that one day it'll mean something. And listen, I'm all for grinding my heart out for that perfect roll, for that little bit of extra damage that most players won't even notice, because at heart, I'm an MMO player. However, this is not an MMO. What am I even grinding the artifacts for? Calm down. Nothing. And we'll get to why I keep coming back to this game in a second. Foreshadowing? Get out! I want to also mention before we get any further, the purpose of this video is not to bash Genshin, because without its existence, I'd be rich. And, more importantly, who are you kidding? I probably wouldn't have been introduced to the gacha scene in the first place. And I'm sure I'm not alone on that. However, after seeing a lot of these Wuthering Waves teasers and trailers and stuff from the devs and everything, it's safe to say this will 110% take over Genshin for me. And let me tell you why. Let's talk about why Genshin hooked me in the first place. The biggest thing, the characters and the world design, baby! Shocker. I mean, how can you blame me? The game looks beautiful. I mean, look at these characters. Look at her just staring directly into my
pixels,
eyes.
dude.
She knows exactly what she's doing. You know what company nails character design? When I literally only come back to play this game to wish for hot anime waifus, to then do nothing with them. So this is why we're behind 3 months on rent. Shh. Next, story, combat, and the endgame that I thought would be there. These are the 4 main points of entrance that pulled me into the game, and Genshin delivers on about 2.5 of these. The story, character design, and the 0.5 is for the combat. Sure, it works, but my god, Wuthering Waves' combat just makes me want to coom. And that's not a jab at Genshin. They are good at what they are going for. I guess why I'm so hyped for Wuthering Waves is because there's a chance they nail all 4 of these. So far, they have pretty okay character design, which is getting better with every update, but there are some that are very questionable. The Wuthering Waves endgame I don't personally know too much about, but I mean, come on, look at this fucking boss fight. It looks like a boss fight straight out of a Souls game. Keep pumping out boss fights like this and make them meaningful, and I'm sold. The story, which nowadays I don't really care too much about story, but Kuro Games redid 90% of their story. Genshin could never.
Yo, where's my pitchfork?
And the combat, that looks fucking phenomenal.
Broker of information, open to negotiations at the right price. But if you try to hustle a deal, then I'm afraid you've outstayed your welcome. Now you see me, now you don't.
Scarlet! Blossom! Ha! My patience finally paid off. Vanquish!
Are you hearing this music?
Judgment! Eradicate! No mercy!
Petals cascade in
Blizzard breaks out in an instant. It all ends here.
Yeah. Shit looks fucking crazy. And honestly, music wasn't even something I considered before. If they got music like this actually in the game, that's a huge fucking W. Now, I know it sounds like I'm saying Wuthering Waves is better than Genshin in every way, which isn't far off. But first off, we don't really know how Wuthering Waves is going to play out. I mean, we're barely on the second closed beta. And second, play whatever game you prefer. I'm not here saying everyone should be playing Wuthering Waves on release. I'm just saying why I think it will succeed in its niche, which brings me directly to my next point. Wuthering Waves is a niche game, and I get that not everyone's gonna like a hardcore version of Genshin. Mommy? Sorry. However, I absolutely feel they can cater to both the hardcore and the casuals, to an extent. And again, this is another part where I don't know if anything is confirmed for making fights optionally easier to bridge that gap between the two communities. But I feel that if something is done to this effect, it can only help the game in the long run. Furthermore, I can overlook just about anything if the characters and combat system is good. That just about anything being bad story,
voice
bad
actors,
scenery,
bad writing,
bad UI,
bad progression
bad system,
system,
bad
bad hair.
dialogue, no hair. Sorry, love you, techie. Honestly, at the end of the day, I'm just hoping that maybe, just maybe, and I say this knowing damn well it's not gonna happen, that Hoyoverse improves Genshin because of Wuthering Waves. Lastly, I can't tell you guys just how much I'm anticipating this game. It's like Gacha meets Dark Souls with hot anime characters instead of the steel armor. Girl, please, give me a beta key. You ain't getting shit. You know what? We didn't get into the closed beta.